Hi, everyone. Welcome to For Women and a Funeral podcast. I'm Lisa Baue, funeral director, former owner of the Baue Funeral Homes and Crematory and Cemeteries in St. Charles, Missouri, author, coach, and one of your podcast hosts. This podcast was founded and hosted by Funeral Women Lead Foundation, a charitable organization that unleashes the greatness in women by developing them as leaders in the funeral and death care profession. We provide a women's leadership academy, an annual wellness summit, mentoring, coaching, and educational resources, along with various online communities. For more information, please go to funeralwomenlead.org. Hosting with me today are two fabulous women who are board members and founding board members of Funeral Women Lead. Alicia Carr, funeral director, CEO, and owner of Kelco Funeral Supply in Big Lake, Minnesota. I love saying that word, Big Lake. It just sounds big. Big Lake. Yeah.
Well, it's really not that big. I think we've talked about that, but yeah. Big for us.
Big for you all. Exactly. Yeah. Melissa Posey Loose, funeral director, senior vice president of communication for Security National Funeral Homes and Cemeteries. Our own Ellen McBrayer, who's the funeral director, CEO of Jones Wynn Funeral Homes and Crematories, may hop on soon, but she is with a family, and we all understand the importance of being there for those that need you. And hopefully we'll see her soon. If not, we wish her well, and we'll see her on another podcast. So, and just a note, Ellen is the current secretary of NFDA and soon to become the treasurer of NFDA and the future president of NFDA that has never had a woman in its history. So we're super excited to have Ellen on our podcast and really excited to have Lindsey Ballard. Let me tell you a little bit about Lindsey. She is the owner and funeral director of Ballard-Sunder Funeral and Cremations in Jordan, Prior Lake, and Shakopee, Minnesota. Did I say that right, Lindsey?
Shakopee.
Shakopee. Okay, I didn't say that right, but it sounds cool. It sounds like a cool place. So again, another Minnesotian, and we're excited to have you with us. Lindsey, of course, is a very special person. She is a woman who is in leadership in one of our national associations. She is the current president of the Cremation Association of North America, CANA, and has just finishing up her year this month. And we're going to hear a little bit more about Lindsey in just a minute. Ladies, how are you today? How is your August summer going?
Hot.
Hot?
Yeah, very hot. Very hot.
Hot, smoky, but
there's fires in Utah. It's horrible.
This started out that way, but we are optimistic.
Yeah, and lots of rain, I think, up in Minnesota, right?
Not really. We had some earlier, but it's been very hot, very steamy. This is typical, I think, for our August, not necessarily for our in prior months, July or whatever. But we always say the dog days of August is the hottest. But yeah, it's hot. It's living up to its name.
That's lovely. Well, in Missouri, we hit the hundreds in August, and it's hot and humid and sticky and icky and mosquitoes, and we can't wait until Indian summer in September. How about you, Lindsey? How's your weather up there?
Yep, same, I'd say, as in Big Lake. We're hot and humid and just trying to stay cool. Getting in the water as much as we can. Any of our lakes around here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and working funerals in the hot and humid is not fun, is it? How many times have you wanted to take off that funeral jacket when you're at the cemetery?
So many. Yes, so many.
I'm so glad you said that, Lisa. I want to do a shout out to all of our funeral directors out there who are doing it, because that is just amazing, and that is a little recognized fact. So yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then also the people in the crematories that are always hot and then are even hotter this time of year.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we need to put air conditioning in our crematories. How do we do that? We can maybe talk to Lindsey about that. Being the president of CANA, maybe she has some ideas for us how to cool those crematories down. Well, let me tell you a little bit more about Lindsey, and then she's going to share a bit more about what her year has been like at CANA, and we're going to ask her some questions about her role in her firm, some challenges she's had, and we hope to learn a ton from her. I know we will. So she's not just a licensed funeral director and mortician. She is the owner of 3 funeral homes, 2 crematories. One is flame, one is alkaline hydrolysis. And she's very proud to continue the traditions of her grandpa, her parents, and her uncle, who established the company back in the day. She's also very passionate about serving families in a way that adds meaning to every step along the way. Well, besides being active in CANA, she's proud of the important work that they are doing, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about that. She's a mom on duty. She has a 4-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter that keeps she and her husband, Paul, extra busy. As a family, they enjoy going for bike rides and attending local concerts and spending time, of course, on the beautiful lakes up there. She's always seems to keep busy, but when she isn't running around, she's probably at home relaxing on the couch and watching an episode of The Golden Girls. So interesting. Yeah. I love The Golden Girls. And she's trying to juggle it all while having a healthy work-life balance, which is constantly a struggle, but she's doing the best she can. So Lindsey, welcome to 4 Women and a Funeral podcast. We are so thrilled to have you. Tell us a little bit more about you and what's going on in your life, and then CANA.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I've been listening to your past episodes in preparation, and what a special podcast you guys have. It's been wonderful. All the stories I've heard you guys tell and your guests, I can relate to all of them. And it's so nice, as you all know, to see yourself in other people and feel seen and heard. And it's like, yep, they get it. They get the struggle. They get the all of it. So thank you for this work that you're doing. Before we started, as we were kind of doing our audio tests, I did share with Lisa that last year this time, I was becoming president of CANA, and within about a 6-week period, I gave birth, I bought a business, and became president of a national association. So I was telling her, it's been a very busy year for me. It's felt like I'm pulled in every direction, and as I'm sure you guys can relate, some days it's like, I don't know if I'm doing enough in any of these roles. Other days, it's like you get the big wins and your kids remember their manners and you're so proud of them and you're like, I'm amazing. And you get a thank you from a family, same thing. It's days that feel really great and then other days that are definitely a struggle. But just keep showing up and like I said in the bio, doing the best I can, and that's really all you can do.
I understand. So you did an acquisition this last year, and how was that for you? And being a new mother, I mean, those two things combined, how do you find the time for all of this?
So I think that what's been really helpful to me, of course, the acquisition was a family deal. My dad agreed to stay on and help work our crematories. He does most of our cremations. Stay there as a steady hand so I could take some amount of a maternity leave, which was wonderful because, of course, being a mom is my top priority. But it's definitely been helpful to lean on other people. I also shared with Lisa that we have had a changing of the guard with my dad, my uncle, our older directors retiring, and kind of having a newer staff that we're engaging right now. So everyone on our staff now is someone that I have helped to hire and get on board here. And so again, it's an interesting time with newer staff who you can't fully step away and say, oh, everything's handled 100%. I trust that they've been here forever, like the previous group. But it's also an opportunity to really set some intentions for the future and how things are going to look for this next generation. So it's an exciting time. It's a time where you want to be everywhere all at the same time. And I say that I don't know how I'm doing it all, certainly with help from a lot of other people. And maybe the answer is I'm not doing it all. I'm leaning on a lot of other people, certainly. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my husband, who's been wonderful, of course, at the home front there. And then I just have the best staff in place here who really works hard and shares my mission for creating meaningful moments, meaningful celebrations, and ceremonies for the families that we're working with in our communities.
That's really cool.
I'm curious, Lindsey, when you say that you're changing of the guard, there was a lot of retirement. Was that forced retirement? Was that retirement on their own accord? I have some follow-up questions because I had a similar situation in that I was taking over a company when I had a small family and stuff, and I was the youngest one joining the team, but I had been there for 14 years, but still considered new in that role. So I'm curious as to how that worked for you, and how that was developed, or how it curated over time to become more of new funeral directors, new staff, new team.
Yeah, so I can relate to you on that for sure. I used to tell people, oh, I'm new and old to the funeral home because
Yep.
I grew up in it. I was delivering flowers to the nursing homes. I was dusting caskets and cleaning toilets and all of those things my whole life here, with it being the family business, but newer as a funeral director. Well, now almost 15 years later, I'm not a new funeral director anymore. I will say that my uncle, he was really running the day-to-day operations of the funeral home. His name's Charlie Sunder, the Sunder of Ballard-Sunder. He was an incredible mentor to me. He's taught me basically everything I know about how to serve a family and show up for them and treat them with the care that they deserve and need. He was wonderful. So he was really great in that part of the transition, really teaching me all the things that I needed to know on that end. Mm-hmm. My dad was more behind the scenes running the business. And to his credit, he has always been progressive, open to trying new things. And when I came in, he really gave me space to have a leadership role. So when the official acquisition happened, for our staff, there was no difference, because if they had any kind of question or we had a judgment call, how do we handle this? I was the person they were coming to. There was no disruption to our staff, to the community, really, other than the perception, oh, now the kid's taken over, kind of a thing. But as far as our
been in
actual
that seat before.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but as far as our actual day-to-day business running, I had been supported by them and encouraged by them and given that opportunity to really lead the business. I know when we have our Department of Health coming to do our annual inspections, and I think that one time they showed up and I happened to be home with a sick kid, and my dad's like, I don't even know where anything is. I can't do this. We got to get Lindsey in here, because he had no idea. He hadn't, he doesn't meet with families anymore. He just isn't involved in the day-to-days other than running our crematory. So that was just an example of truly I had been the leader of the business for quite some time. As far as the changing of the guard, it has happened a little more slowly with, people retiring at age, 65 when they got there, or, 60. Some were due to family illness, and it maybe happened a little sooner than we had hoped. But most of the people who have retired, my uncle, a former funeral director of ours, my dad, our former office manager, they're all still involved in the business in some capacity. Our former office manager still comes in, and she helps with our end of the month and our tax, things, and helps with payroll. My uncle still works funerals whenever we're in a pinch and we're busy and we need help. Absolutely, he's there to lend a helping hand. Same with my dad. Again, he's kind of been trying to retire for many years, but will actually officially take some time away from the business in September. So I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited too, because we have to keep moving forward. But it's been great having those people to really lean on when I have questions, when I need help, when I just need an extra voice. How was this done before? What about this new idea? And they've been really great and encouraging.
That's really, really cool, actually. I mean, just to have the entire support system that had all the knowledge previous to transferring it to you, but to go back to them. I wish I would have had that, but I think that is wonderful that you have that, so that you have the support system, especially with a young family, 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and doing what you do outside of the family within your own organization and CANA. I commend you for taking all of that on, and like you say, doing your best.
Yeah, my
From
family
the outside,
motto.
it looks like you're powerhouse, making it all happen.
How's the
I was gonna
inside
say-
doing, Lindsey?
Yeah,
How's the
I know,
inside
I know.
doing? Let's talk about the inside, because this is really where we get down to the nitty gritty here. at Four Women in a Funeral. I mean, what do you do for self-care and to help yourself through some of these there has to be stressful situations, especially this last year. And, crying baby, you're probably not getting a whole lot of sleep. You're a nursing mom, and then you have to go in and see a family. So how do you deal with your stress? And what kind of lessons can you teach our listening audience about how to find that center, that balance?
Yeah. So my personal family motto for our family of four is we can do hard things together. And so I definitely, in the middle of the night when the baby's crying, and we had reflux as well, which anyone who's dealt with that knows how terrible and awful that is. It's a whole nother thing that you're dealing with. I had moments where I'm just all of a sudden crying because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I need sleep. Haven't gotten what I need, and asking for help, learning to ask for help has been the biggest thing for me. Whether it's in the middle of the night, telling my husband, I need a break. You need to step in here and I need a few minutes to just like deep breathe and recharge. Or if it's at work, saying, you know what, guys, I'm sorry, I have sick kids. I gotta run home. Send me a list of what I can do from home. But like, I can't be meeting with a family right now. Things like that. I think, again, getting the right team in place and getting people you can count on and that you're okay to ask for help, that's the biggest thing. Because let me tell you, if you guys think I have it all together, I have you fooled for sure. Because Lisa, you're absolutely right. The inside, no. There's been lots of tears, lots of processing, lots of therapy bills, all of the things this year to keep things together.
Well,
I'd like to in on that just a little bit. If you've got that new team, because I know I've got several friends in our profession who are buying businesses and building new teams, and you are having these challenges in the personal side of things. How do you maintain that concept of being the leader and being somebody that they can depend on while still needing them? How do you establish a culture that supports that?
So that is a question I kind of have for you guys almost. I just shared, Lisa, next week we have a very intentional meeting with our new group moving forward. And it is to talk about like what are our goals as a team? What are our expectations of each other? Like what do we want to get out of this job? And how do we make it so it's not just a job, how it feels like meaningful, rewarding? We know this profession's a calling, but like how do we have that work-life balance? How do we support each other? So we're going to be really intentional about making sure everyone understands each other's needs, that we can all show up and do this as a team and really come to this idea of what we expect of ourselves and of each other together. And that was a question I brought for you, is like, what do you recommend to me for that? What are questions I can bring to this conversation, or how do we do that? Because I think especially this year with a baby at home, with this other commitment that I have serving CANA right now, it's a lot more your presidential year than just being a board member, the time commitment. So really being able to step away from services, arrangements, things like that, and counting on my staff, knowing that they're doing a great job, but having support from them to show up in these other ways, like I've needed that this year. And I don't know if I've done a good job of navigating that, but really moving forward, want to be intentional about it.
Sure. I think that's a really great question. One of the things that I learned early on is to have these meetings on a regular basis and have one-on-ones on a regular basis as well with each team member. Because some people will feel comfortable speaking up in groups and some will not. But I love a great question is, how am I doing as the owner? I could use some feedback on how I can improve and how I can make things better here for all of us. And then I always love the little questions like, what do we need to start doing, stop doing, do more of, and do less of? And then you want to be approachable, obviously, because sit in a circle. Don't sit in the pews. Don't sit behind a desk. Get everybody's chairs facing each other. And get a whiteboard behind you, possibly, and write down everybody's ideas. So have somebody be your Vanna White for a while. and give it to different people so everybody can think together. I think it's wonderful you're doing this, Lindsey. I think it's a great first step to creating a better culture and teamwork. And I'll leave it to my other fellow hosts, lady hosts, to say what other ideas do you have for Lindsey? Because what she's doing, I think, is incredible and a great way to kick off her new year.
Well, I'd love to jump back in because I'm actually doing this today.
Oh, you are? That's awesome. Yeah. I love that.
One thing we have found so helpful we found it when I was in my family's business, and now that I'm here at Security National, prior to you've got to have understanding of what the standards are. And I like to use the word standards instead of rules. Standards are a commitment. Rules are something that you follow, but today we're going to be talking about how standards are a commitment, and our presence is the evidence of our commitment to those standards. And so standards, when I say standards, I'm talking about things, and at least I know you had these, in terms of like attire and grooming.
Mm-hmm.
We've outlined service standards and what that looks like when we go to a church to do a church service or even have a viewing beforehand. What are the things that we expect to be in the vehicles to help our people? And I know you can talk about these, but I think the importance is that they are written down somewhere.
Yes.
So that you can have that as a basis of your discussion. And then when you have to have those follow-ups, the emotions don't have to get into play. You can pull this back up and say, you acknowledged, and we've talked about this as our standard. Give me some perspective maybe on where you're at with that. So I'm a firm believer as that being, standards being an important, essential part of your foundation of your business.
I agree. I agree. Standards of excellence, I think, are excellent to establish. And I would have your team help establish those with you, because I think that's important that they feel part of those standards. Like, what do you think our standards should be? As an example, how should we all dress? How should we all, we used to practice taking the casket down the aisle and standing correctly and walking out correctly. We would practice going in and out of churches, and we would have what we called mock funeral training, so that everyone was on the same page, and we would videotape it and we would show it to others. We also had it kind of written down, but things changed based on the weight of the casket, the kind of setup you're going to have. There's so many different variables. Or if there's no casket, how do you proceed down the aisle with the urn, or is the urn already placed? What do you do? A memorial services? So all those things are good. What I also really love is values. And if your company doesn't have at least 3 to 4 core values established, and that really falls to you as the owner, Lindsey, I think it's important that you establish those values early on, like respect or kindness, compassion. And that goes for not just how you treat your families, but how we treat each other and how we interact with each other as team members, and holding each other accountable to those values. We're all going to have bad days, and there's going to be days where we irritate the out of each other. But it's important to go back to those values and say, am I being kind? Am I being compassionate? Do I know what's going on with that team member on that day? Is their baby homesick? Is their mother in the hospital? And I think it's becoming human with each other. That's the most important thing you can do in those team meetings. And I would encourage you to do the same with your one-on-ones with them. A minimum of once a month. Have these meetings together if you can, if not once a quarter or every other month, because they will mean the world to your staff that you're asking their input and you're asking for their help and ideas. Lisa, what about you?
Something that I would really encourage, and something that we do here to keep positive culture moving forward, is energy check-ins. And I learned this several years ago through Marguerite Ham when she came out and did a training with our team. But we recently put a document together that allows them to go to the share drive a common place that they all can access it. It's not necessarily anonymous. We talk about it in our staff meetings, but what drains you, what's sucking the life right out of you, but also what's giving you energy, what's filling your tank. This, especially in a profession like this where burnout is, running rampant everywhere. You understand there's obviously going to be some themes that you're going to find amongst the team, and if you can kind of hone in on either whether it's positive or negative, right? If it's draining or giving you that energy, and then group them together. You can only have so many plates in the air at one time, and you really have to put a focus on where that drain is at, and try to fix those processes or fix whatever those drains, whatever the common theme is, but also keep a keen eye on the what's giving them the energy, and make sure that you continue to do things like that, or try to copy that into something else, and something else that might be able to give them some energy. So they all have, nobody gets left out. In fact, if somebody has not participated and given us a drain or a what's giving them energy, I call them out on it. Like, all right, you haven't said anything. Like, you tell me what's going on with you, So I think that has been helpful for us, just to get things out of the table. It's not to be ashamed of, not to be, whatever. We want to know what that is, and, tackle it.
And I've got one more thing, because I love what you're saying, Elisa. You're really talking about bringing that team together in a very special way and building that culture. And I've found that not using the term staff, but replacing that with the word team, can be a very intentional, it's a very small thing, but it can speak volumes. Yeah. And so, looking at our language and utilizing very intentional terms when we're speaking, especially in these meetings, it can really go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you guys were sharing all of this, it sparked something in me. Barbara Chemist and I, the executive director of CANA, and I were lucky enough to be in Europe in June. We were at the International Cremation Federation meeting.
I saw that. I saw you post that. Oh,
Germany.
Cool.
It was wonderful. But prior to that, we did a study tour as well, and we got to go to Loop, the people who make the mushroom caskets. And one thing that they had at their warehouse, their office, is they set for the year. Every year they do this. They've only done a handful of years because they're a newer company, but they set goals. And there was a list of their goals. It's up on the wall, and every single staff member signed it. And then they have a bottle of champagne or whatever it might be. And when they reach all those goals, they celebrate together as a team. And I remember that being pretty impactful. And of course, I forgot about it. Coming home, you get right back into mom duty, right back into work duty. And I think that was a cool thing that kind of, as you guys were sharing some of those ideas, I think that something like that, getting that buy-in from your team, having them be a part of cultivating these goals, these values, and things like that is really important. And it clearly was working for Loop, it seemed like.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a
cool.
great story. We did that every year. So we started our goals, obviously, as the owner and the senior management team. We worked on our financial goals together, but we also worked on goals to help support our team members and how we wanted our culture to be. We did a little survey, anonymous. So we had a pretty sizable staff. Lindsey, I don't know how large your staff is. You're serving about 350 families a year, I think.
Yeah, we have about 7 full-time staff members.
There you go. So that's a good staff number there. Sometimes they won't always tell you how they feel. They will maybe in your one-on-ones and say, tell me what challenges you. How can I be a better supporter for you? What more can we do? Ask those same questions on your one-on-ones. But because we were a sizable staff at the time, we did an anonymous survey and found out our communication was our biggest challenge. And so we set goals for the management team to improve communication and use that as a basis to do another anonymous survey to see if we had improved it a year later. And we found the number one thing we had to work on was communication. That seemed to be what everyone wanted and needed. They wanted to hear more from us. Like you shared earlier, they want to hear how you're doing as a company. What are the customers saying? What is your customer satisfaction saying? yeah, they're interested in the numbers. How are we doing against the competition? We used to measure our competition and we'd show them our numbers and the competition's numbers we tracked, because some of them just got their little competitive juices on and said, hey, what more can I do? How can we, oh, you know what? We need to be more involved in this church or this community. We're not very active out there. People don't know who we are. And it was so cool to be part of that, where they started thinking together of goals that we should accomplish for the year. So we had the upper management, big goals we needed, what I call the big, hairy, audacious goals, from good to great. But we also needed to drill those down, and they set their own goals in their departments, in their groups, in their teams for what they wanted to do to improve communication, improve customer satisfaction, improve our culture, improve ourselves financially. They found more waste in areas we had no idea were going on, in some silly little areas like, hey, our toilet paper seems to be disappearing. Should we be locking up our toilet paper? Is that really crazy? But gosh darn it, they figured it out because we were having some challenges there with the toilet paper disappearing in large quantities. I don't know who needed it most, but I think our staff and families did. So I would encourage you to ask open-ended questions, and I think setting goals together is just really terrific. All right, so for the sake of time, we've had some great conversations, ladies. I love these kind of conversations because they help us all be better and improve our businesses and improve our workplace culture. But I would like to hear a little bit from Lindsey about CANA, because some people are familiar with the Cremation Association of North America and some people are not. Tell us about your year. Tell us what's coming up. You have this coming week, you have the CANA International Conference, and share some about CANA and how your year's been and what you think CANA is going to do in the future, all things CANA.
Oh, I'm so proud of CANA, and CANA is all things cremation. So anything you want to talk about related to cremation, CANA's a place to come for that and a great resource for that. We're really known for our annual statistics about cremation. We know that the current cremation rate in the U.S. is, I have my note here so I get it right, 62.8%. So we know that most families are choosing cremation. So we want to give our members resources to be able to serve our families, to talk to them and make arrangements in ways that are helpful for families choosing cremation. We have online education opportunities for folks to learn how to better serve families choosing cremation. Again, we have our annual statistics that we're really known for. We do a lot of research as well. These are things about consumer trends and things like that relating to cremation preferences, burial preferences, things like that. CANA is also known for some wonderful in-person events. Melissa, I think that you have emceed a few of them and were fantastic when you did those. So we have actually, as you said, when this podcast comes out, this week we will be in Minneapolis. So my home state, Lisa's as well. And we are hosting our annual Cremation Innovation Convention. It is the 12th through the 14th of August. We actually are doing some great work in training around hospice relations. So that's an opportunity for a pre-conference workshop. We have the conference itself, which has speakers talking about things like hospice, doulas, mentorship, which I know is so important to this group as well. We're actually going to end the convention with a tour of 2 different facilities offering alkaline hydrolysis. One of them is my business. The other one is my a board member, another board member, Tim Cook's business. He's a third-party provider of cremation and trade services. So you're going to get to see 2 different alkaline hydrolysis machines and 2 different business models around adding that to your offerings. And it's just, I feel like our in-person events are extra special at CANA. They're smaller. They're a little more intimate. A lot of times we have things like roundtables and all of that, and we'll have panels and really interactive sessions where the audience is participating and asking thoughtful questions. And I always say the best thing for me about CANA are the connections that you make. Because I have formed some true friendships in CANA and learned so much. We're just really good at tackling any of the kind of progressive topics. Lisa, I believe you and I were together in the session Dr. Sarah Murphy did about death care needs self-care. We talk about it. The sessions I was listening to that you guys have previously recorded, that's a thread throughout all of it. And as much as we all know it, it's really hard to be committed to that and find time for that. So again, CANA's looking for opportunities to support people along the way with that too. I do want to give a shout out, since we're talking about kind of mental health self-care. The third Tuesday of every month, CANA helps put on a peer support group meeting. It's just through Zoom. It's wonderful to attend. You can show up. You can share the hard thing you're going through in your day. It's for anyone in our profession who just needs an ear, someone to talk to. And it's a wonderful opportunity too.
And so, Lindsey, how do you get to be a part of that? Because that is important. You said it's the third Tuesday?
Yep, the third Tuesday. Okay. There's a link right on CANA's website in our in our events tab. And it's the funeral professionals are the ones who really lead the conversation and do that. CANA, we host it. We host the place for them to do that and help send out the information. But yeah, it's the third Tuesday of every month, and it's just a great thing. I've popped into a few of them, and the discussions are always really, really great and meaningful.
And do you need to be a member of CANA to participate?
No, it's open to everyone. Open to everyone. Yeah.
Great. So glad you shared that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been a guest there before. CANA, it's really good.
Oh yeah. My last plug about CANA and how wonderful I think it is that I came to it when I was very newly licensed. So between 10 and 15 years ago is when I showed up. And I was in our COCP, our Crematory Operator Certification Program, and in-person training. And I'm the type who's not shy. I'm raising my hand. I'm asking lots of questions. And after that, the current president at the time, BBJ, and a few other people came up and were like, hey, you're really engaged. Like, do you think you want to get involved? And they didn't care that I didn't have a ton of experience, that my voice was new. They thought, let's foster this. Let's get this person involved. And so I started out in an advisory group, helping to plan our symposium, which is one of our in-person meetings that we host in February in Las Vegas. And that merged with our convention advisory group at some point. And I just, through time, really showed up and kept going to the events and kept volunteering on the advisory groups, and eventually was asked to join the board of directors, and then worked my way up through the executive committee to eventually be president, which I'm so proud to be serving this year as, because CANA does great work, and our members are amazing, and I know there's a lot of crossover with some of your groups and the suppliers. I see a lot of them posting wonderful things about the Funeral Women Lead and your guys' events as well. And there's just a lot of really special people at CANA.
And I do have to agree as we end this today by sharing an impact story with you. There's a young woman that I've been coaching and helping mentor over the last couple of years who eventually bought out her business partner and was really struggling in her self-confidence and her ability to run a business on her own. And I recommended this last year that she take the CANA management class, where you learn how to better run a cremation business and how to make it successful. And I will tell you, she is singing your praises about that class and how helpful it was, that she really feels like she's on the right path and doing all the right things to make her cremation company successful. So thank you for that. And please give Barbara our best and our thanks for, because she was telling me about that class, I want to say at least a year and a half ago when it was in beta test form. And I was so curious to learn more. And now that it's out there, it is making an impact in our profession, especially for these new owners who just don't know where to go and how to find best practices. And like you, Lindsey, I was a young woman in CANA, and I wanted to start my own crematory and my own cremation society in St. Louis. And I had no idea who or how to even get started. And I came to CANA and was embraced and was taken under people's wings. Jack Springer was the executive director back then, and I will tell you, he was so encouraging, and he introduced me to everybody in the association, and I felt like I had friends for life, like Kevin Watterson. And Kevin was my challenger, and he kept saying, you can do this, Lisa, and this is how you have to make it happen. And it was just great to have that level of support, and kudos to CANA for everything they are doing for our profession. Lindsey, thank you so much for being with us today. We so appreciate you. We admire you and all that you're doing. This has been a crazy year for you, but you not just survived, it's pretty evident that you are thriving. And we're very proud to see that happen, and proud to see a woman as head of a international association. And we wish you well in your future. Please stay in touch. We'll be part of this podcast soon. And we all hope everybody who's listening in, if you have a chance to just hop on a plane, come to Minneapolis. I'm sure there's a way to get into CANA and join them in the next couple of days if you would like to. A reminder,
register on site. Absolutely.
A register right there on site, and it's actually very affordable. I found that they stay at places that are great. There's scholarships in the future too that you can apply for through the Funeral Service Foundation to come to CANA, and they help take care of you the whole time you're there. A quick reminder for all of our listeners, Funeral Women Leads Leadership and Wellness Summit is coming up this September, the 28th through 30th at the Wild Dunes Resort, which is near Charleston, South Carolina on the Isle of Palms. And Lindsey, we hope you'll join us. We'll hope to see you there because we're going to be working on our leadership and our wellness. And also our Women's Leadership Academy kicks off the day before, and you can register for all of these online at funeralwomenlead.org. There may still be some scholarships available, so please check in on that. And let us know if you enjoy our podcast. Please leave us a review online. And if there's any topics that you would like us to cover, any special guests you'd like to have us come and interview and learn more from, please let us know that too. You can email us at info@funeralwomenlead.org. Thank you again for joining us, Lindsey and our hosts, Melissa and Elisa. And get out there now, ladies, and unleash your greatness.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Lindsey.
Thank you, Lindsey. See you soon.
For Women and a Funeral is a Crabshell Media podcast.